Hello and thanks for joining us on Nationwide today. I'm Elizabeth Omori. We're reaching you live from Abuja. President Muhammadu Buhari has noted with deep concern reported attacks on Nigerian citizens and property in South Africa since August 29, 2019. President Buhari has also dispatched a special envoy to convey to President Cyril Ramaphosa his concerns and also interact with his South African counterpart on the situation. The special envoy is expected to arrive in Pretoria latest Thursday, 5th of September 2019. Similarly, the federal government says it is pushing to ensure that Nigerian citizens whose shops were looted in South Africa are compensated and those responsible are held accountable for their actions. This was at a meeting between Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs and the South African High Commissioner to Nigeria. Usman Aliu has details.
The recent looting of shops and burning of property belonging to Nigerians in South Africa sent shockwaves among Nigerians. Many people wonder why such misunderstanding keeps recurring in the nations regarded as economic powers in Africa. At a meeting, leaders representing the two nations agree it is no longer a matter of silence. Nigeria's Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Onyeama and the South Africa Head of Mission in Nigeria, Bobby Moro, say they are worried by the criminal behavior exhibited by some South Africans against some Nigerians. Particularly Nigeria's Minister Geoffrey Onyeama said there must be accountability and responsibility whenever such crimes are committed.
And essentially being prepared to preempt such attacks as we're witnessing today, and taking other measures including compensation and so forth, but essentially having the two working as a team.
Apart from the measures the two countries put in place, they assured Nigerians that justice must be done.
It is therefore quite very unfortunate that we find ourselves in a situation that we found ourselves in now. The government has issued a statement yesterday condemning the acts of violence and acts of criminality. For us, these are acts that continue to demonstrate that there are criminals within society that seek to destabilize the country. There are criminals who seek to create an impression that South Africans do not subscribe to the principle of Ubuntu.
It is expected that the measures will spur authorities in South Africa to address what people see as horrendous violence against Nigerians in that country once and for all. In Abuja, Usman Aliu, NT News.
Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress has strongly condemned the recent South African xenophobic attacks on foreign nationals, particularly on Nigerians, their property and businesses. In a statement by the party's National Publicity Secretary, Larry Issa Onilu, the APC is deeply saddened by the unwarranted attacks. The party says attack on citizens of other countries points to a failure of leadership and calls on the South African ruling party, the African National Congress, to urgently step in as the ANC government can no longer pretend about this obvious contradiction. Now to conflict resolution. Women conflict mediators from some African countries are seeking ways of developing a culture of dialogue among the diverse ethnic and religious groups in the continent. Mohamed Umar Ajinge reports that the women visited Governor Nasiru Hamad El-Rufai, who promised to collaborate with them for sustainable peace in Kaduna State.
Many African countries have suffered untold hardship due to conflict. The peace mediators from Kenya, Mali, Sudan, and other African countries gathered under the aegis of Farmer Headers Initiative for Peace and Dialogue to proffer a common solution that will resolve the difference among different ethnic groups and religious communities. The need for justice and inclusion of more women in decision-making roles to prevent violent conflict as mothers are some of the issues brought to the fore that will help in peace building.
My message to you and from Kenya is going to come as a form of a challenge and a question. What kind of world do you want to see for your children and your children's children?
For Governor Nasiru Hamad El-Rufai, African leaders need to step up their efforts
and build The Information and Culture Minister is now visitor to the corporate headquarters of the leadership newspapers, and each time he comes visiting, it is always a moment. It is in line with those that
government.
In the grid law,
put in place tow truck.
Among motor
get a better mix
driven to ensure greater integrity to the preparation and conduct of elections in Nigeria.
With the theme, Post-2019 Electoral Reform Towards Improving the Integrity of Nigerian Elections, 6 thematic areas cutting across electoral legal framework, election finances and technology in elections were deliberated upon.
Our elections must be visibly fair to be credible.
The Electoral Act is the instrument that will be used to conduct, a free, fair and credible election, inshallah 2023.
Permanent Secretary, Cabinet Affairs, representing the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, noted that Nigerians are not oblivious of some of the attendant imperfections witnessed in the 2019 general elections, just like any other election anywhere else in the world.
Notwithstanding any shortcoming associated with the elections, it was adjudged to be largely free, fair, and credible.
INEC, Nigeria's election management body, is expected to work with the recommendations of the Round Table, in addition to its own strategies towards improving future elections. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NT News.
Agro Rangers squad. For details, let's link up with Mina in our Enugu Network Center for details. Hello, Mina.
Hello, Elizabeth. Good afternoon and welcome to Enugu. As part of efforts to ensure efficient service delivery in response to fire disasters in the country, the Controller General of Fire Service, Dr. Ibrahim Liman, has embarked on tour of Fire Service headquarters in the country. Chineye Nwoye reports on the Controller's visit to Enugu.
The two-day walking visit to Enugu by the Controller General of Federal Fire Service, Dr. Ibrahim Lehman, after assumption of office 5 months ago, was to, among other things, inspect various equipment and other facilities. He was received on arrival by the commanding officer, Enugu Karibu Samson, who took him round the firehouse. While inspecting the equipment, the Controller General expressed satisfaction with the firefighting equipment on ground. Dr. Lehman called on the firefighters to ensure swift response to emergencies, either caused by nature or man-made, to minimize disaster. He also assured the staff of training and retraining to enhance productivity. The Controller General thereafter inspected the quarter guard.
When we finish the entire tour, we'll sit down and look at zone by zone. Then where we have deficiency, we correct it. Where we need to strengthen, we strengthen it. You understand? Either in terms of assets or in terms of personnel.
The working visit by the Controller General, slated for the 6 zonal headquarters in the country, is to identify challenges and provide solutions. Enugu, Chineye Nwoye, NTA News.
The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps Special Squad, the Agro Rangers, is a response team initiated by the Corps in collaboration with Federal Ministry of Agriculture to curb clashes between farmers and herders across the country. Inaugurating the Agro Ranger Squad in Enugu, the State Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi described the initiative as a welcome complement to efforts of the state government in combating security challenges. Susan Eze has details.
The Agro Ranger Squad is charged with the responsibility of protecting the agro-allied investments, which include farmlands, livestock, silos, ranches, and other related agricultural economy of the nation. Governor Ugwuanyi expressed confidence that the Agro Ranger Squad, working in synergy with the already established forest guards, will further enhance security in the state. He urged the initiators of the project to ensure that members of the squad carry out their duties with professionalism, discipline, and respect to all concerned.
We must commend the federal government through the NSDC
the Federal Ministry of Agriculture for this unprecedented initiative.
The Agro Rangers, according to the Enugu State Commandant of the NSCDC, have been trained to ensure peace between farmers, villagers, and herders while checkmating excesses of the parties involved for peaceful coexistence. According to him, carrying of guns and dangerous weapons by herders and farmers is prohibited, while offenders will be arrested and prosecuted.
The scheme was designed to secure ranches, animals, and grazing areas so as to encourage investments in agriculture and boost food security and security of livestock property of the people.
Inauguration of the first squad of 34 officers was attended by the NSCDC Zonal Commander, Zone E, and heads of sister agencies. In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
And that's a contribution from Enugu. It's back to you, Elizabeth, for a continuation of Nationwide.
Thank you, Mina. Let's now talk flood management. 10 communities in 3 local government areas in Ekiti State have been hit by floods, which have rendered them homeless. Director Research and Rescue of NEMA, Air Commodore Akugbe Inyamo, led NEMA delegation to the affected areas to ascertain the level of devastation for onward provision of succor to the affected victims. Ilyasu Ali Yakubu has details.
These are the roads linking Ikere and Ogbese communities and Adulaku and its neighboring community, now completely cut off as a result of the flood, which has also hampered economic activities in the communities. Although no life was lost, however, the devastation on the residents and their household was harrowing.
We don't even know where that water comes from. All my people have already destabilized now. They didn't know, they didn't have anywhere to stay, no fooding, all their certificates have been already lost.
The federal government should come to our urgent assistance.
The state government said palliatives were immediately provided to cushion the effects.
Well, the directive of the governor is that first of all, we have to stabilize the people that have been traumatized. So this morning, emergency management agency has swung into actions to provide consumables, foods, clothing, and mattresses.
Their means of economy has been taken away from them by the natural disaster. The only thing is for them to be rehabilitated.
Leader of the NEMA delegation, Air Commodore Akugbe Inyamo, expressed shock over the level of devastation and directed the immediate deployment of relief items to alleviate the sufferings of the people.
What you see now is a very terrible situation. When we get to evacuation, you know, we are very grateful to the chief of the air staff who has been available 2 C-130 and helicopters. The Army has made available their specialized equipment, and Navy has made available their boats. So when it gets to the extreme and they need to be evacuated, the DROUs will be activated to evacuate them.
Ekiti State is one of the 30 states predicted that will experience high risks of flooding by the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency. From Ado-Ekiti in Ekiti State, Ilyasu Ali Yakubu, NTA News.
And still on disaster management, more Nigerians are applauding the creation of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. Amongst them, our guest on Good Morning Nigeria's ability to address challenges of victims of man-made or natural disasters. Sarafina Okun reports.
It won't be out of place to say that the upsurge in the cases of disasters, banditry and Boko Haram insurgency in the northeast gave rise to the creation of a new Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development by the Buhari administration. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria say this is aimed at addressing the challenges of millions of people in need of humanitarian assistance across the country and to properly resettle and repatriate victims of various disasters within and outside the country. They urge the federal government to ensure proper funding of the ministry in order to achieve its mandate.
The issue of quick response
You have to consider our situation, our environmental situation.
The logistics have to come in place, and we cannot downsize the reality or overemphasize the fact that when structures that are supposed to facilitate timely response are not in place, you will always have a hitch in delivering.
They insist premium must be placed on value reorientation in order to restore the Nigerian value system.
All the stakeholders within the disaster management environment will see themselves as partners in progress, because really this very destructive territorial war, it's not necessary.
If you have your priorities mapped out, it is easier for you to achieve whatever you want to achieve. I know what is required for the ministry to really make impact are just three. One is the right leadership. The second thing, again, is the policy trusts that the ministry wants to run with. Then the last one is funding.
The guest also urged the minister to hit the ground running with distinctive and operational styles, as this would help in resolving humanitarian crises with durable solutions. Serafina Okun, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Let's take another break. The news continues shortly.
The Nigerian national flag is a sacred national symbol. It is a mark of patriotism and a show of love for our nation to fly the national flag correctly, in the right colors, right dimension, and in the right sizes for each occasion. In recent times, it has been noticed that government offices, corporate organizations, banks, embassies, and other notable institutions fly faded, shredded, and haggard-looking versions of the national flag. This is wrong and must stop. It has also been noticed that some citizens prefer to popularize the national flag of other nations. Fellow countrymen and women, let us be patriotic. Come, let us show love for our motherland. Fly the correct versions of our national flag in all relevant places. Be patriotic. Be proud ambassadors of our great country.
This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous, whether you do it for fun or for political gains. Real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA. Get the latest news and updates from across Nigeria on NTA Nationwide. NTA Nationwide, weekdays by 4 p.m. Get it first, get it fresh.
Glad to know you're still there. Now, Justice Anselm Wigwe has been sworn in as the Chief Judge of Ebonyi State, following his confirmation by the State House of Assembly. Kingsley Okoro reports that the Ebonyi State Governor, David Umahi, led other members of the State Executive to the event.
Judicial arm is a key component of any administration that ensures justice and good governance. Ebonyi State Judiciary, like other state judiciaries, has the mandate to interpret laws, give directions on jurisprudence, customs, conventions, and to protect and preserve rights and privileges of citizens and individuals alike. and swearing in of the Chief Judge of Ebonyi State by the Solicitor General of Ebonyi State, Albert Alo, was another milestone for effective dispensation of justice in the state. Do solemnly swear. Governor David Umahi at the event urged him to work hard for speedy dispensation of justice in the state.
Your duties. Congratulations.
The Chief Judge of the state, Justice Ansley Mwiwe, pledged to use the instruments of the law to uphold the bar and the bench.
I promise never to fail. I also promise to use the instrument of the law and constitution to drive our state judiciary to enviable heights.
Justice Mwiwe is the third Chief Judge of Ebonyi State. In Abakaliki, Kingsley Okoro, NTA News.
And the Anambra State government has commenced verification exercise for pensioners in order to commence payment. Idem Kalu reports.
The ongoing verification exercise by the Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate is to ensure that all genuine pensioners are paid what is due them. Pensioners under the defined benefit scheme are to go to the nearest centers close to them to do their verification. Oka, the Anambra State capital, being one of the selected centers in the southeast, retirees under the federal parastatal came out with their documents in compliance with the exercise. Among the retirees is a veteran broadcaster with the Nigerian Television Authority, Nwora Asika, who described the exercise as commendable, though not without challenges.
I would have thought that if they wanted to verify us, they would have asked us to report to the local government of our state. Wherever you come from, whatever your local government is, you go to your local government for this verification exercise.
On Monday, this place has no place to stay. You see, it's going to be better to make it in a departmental level.
It's very nice, unlike the ones we were doing before, but very orderly. At least so far so good since I came in here, moving smoothly.
The verification exercise, which commenced on the 26th of August, will last till 4th September in the selected centers in Oka, Ndem Kalo, NTA News.
Into other matters of concern, the coalition of civil society organizations protesting the $9.6 billion judgment against Nigeria's threatened to occupy British and Irish embassies if officials fail to respond to their demands. Onenge Fineface has details.
It's the second day running into the protest organized by the Coalition of Civil Society Organizations of Nigeria. They are clamoring for intervention to ensure that the judgment given against Nigeria of $9.6 billion awarded to PNID is set aside. But 2 days into the protest, they've not received any meaningful commitment from the British High Commission, where they are currently holding their protest.
So today we've not been able to hear any response from them. We are still waiting for them to talk to us. But we've given them 21 days ultimatum to revert that judgment. We've also appealed to Boris Johnson to step into that judgment so that they can reduce the slump, bring it down to the barest minimum.
Yes, after 21 days ultimatum and nothing is done, we will come back here to occupy British Embassy. This time, no going home. We'll sleep here, we'll wine here, we'll dine here until a drastic action is taken.
Some of the protesters are tired. They've been on the road for hours. Although they are tired, they are still resolved to continue on the protest until they get positive commitment from the Irish Embassy and the British High Commission here in Abuja. Onengie Fineface, NTA News.
Nigeria to play Sudan in CAF Under-23 African qualifier on Thursday. Ayodeji Makinde has details on sports updates.
National men's basketball team, the Tigers, have been admonished to go all out